Hi, this is Georg from Artarov I, and you're watching Metal DNA. I was invited to do a show called Album Uncover, and I chose this one, namely the album Wanderer from the German band Heaven Shall Burn. I'm just listening to it right now. You can hear it in the background a little bit. And the album is from the year 2016, and it was kind of the first concept album they've ever done. Before that, it was just a collection of songs with some cool cover and some name that just fits to the songs, kind of. This was really a story, a background story behind it. It's about the guitar player and writer of all the lyrics being on holidays in Iceland, and it was just wandering through the lands, through the country, seeing all those beautiful landscapes. And while he was watching it, some images he's seen there, he was thinking about lyrics. They just came to him, and so that's why it's called The Wanderer, because it's just about sort of him wandering through Iceland, a country he's been to, and just thinking about lyrics that just came to his mind. And I'm also some kind of wanderer. Every day I try to go out of the house and just go for a walk with my dog, and just it's also what he says about the album, just getting out there, having a good breath of fresh air, just getting rid of all the things that just put you down that happened to you throughout the whole day, and just free your mind and just take a step back, take a step out of this world where you're filled with bullshit, right? Through social media, television, at, at work, wherever, just by meeting people, and just take a step back, take a step out of this world we're forced into, and just clear your mind and think about everything in silence and find some kind of peace for yourself. And that's what I try by going out, going for a walk. If it's just for a few minutes, it just helps so much. It's just good dose of therapy you don't have to pay for, right? That's what I like about this album, because I really can identify myself with it, being some kind of wanderer, just wandering and looking at things from outside, trying to get image of things by watching at it or looking at it from the outside. It helps a lot to get a glimpse of something, to understand things, and many ideas for my lyrics, many words come to my mind also when I'm somewhere out there wandering around, and just yeah, just getting into a flow situation, right? And just things come to my mind. I just have to write them down instantly, or type them into my mobile phone or whatever, so I don't forget about them. Because yeah, it would be sad to forget all those things. And it's cool because after he's been there in Iceland, he sent a photographer, Christian Thiele, a German photographer. He's done a lot of work for Heaven Shall Burn. He sent him there to Iceland to like do pictures of the sceneries and the places he's been to, and he connected like those pictures, like he said, like go to this mountain, please take a good photograph of it. Then they wrote down into this booklet the sentences that came to his mind while he's been there seeing those places, and that goes throughout the whole booklet. I'm glad to have this special edition. It's like almost the size of a real LP, but it's not vinyl. It just contains CDs, like the actual album, then the album with a different mix, and a compilation of almost all cover songs Heather Shepard did throughout her whole career that is called Too Good to Steal From. And I always liked that Heather Shepard, they always had great cover songs, and they also show their background. It varies from punk rock, German punk rock bands I also admired when I was young, like Dritte Wahl, etc. And also, of course, metal bands or hardcore bands. And I kind of feel like since I've been listening to Heaven Shall Burn, like in the early 90s, I think Heaven Shall Burn was founded in 1996, and I started listening to Heaven Shall Burn, I think, in 98 or 99. I've been a fan since then, and I kind of identify with the band because I have the same background, listen to political punk rock, hardcore, and metal at the same time. And this was a band for me that connected those two things, like the political statements from that you can find in punk rock and hardcore, and like vegetarianism, veganism, whatever, like anti-fascist thinking, and like connecting with the sounds of metal music. And that's just like I heard that and I knew that's it. That's where I find myself in. That's like it portrays like my thinking of a lot of things and my liking of music. It's just like the connection of hardcore, punk rock, and extreme metal music, and that's also a reason why I'm still a big, huge fan of Heaven Shall Burn. And they think a lot when writing lyrics and doing albums. They take their time to do them, like, and looking through that, it's just beautiful images, and it's the songs also, like, it starts with a cool atmospheric but at the same time very furious song, The Loss of Fury. It's mostly the singer screaming, and then it just gets into the song Bring the War Home. It's about somebody coming home from war, and he went somewhere to defend his country from war, but in fact he brought the war back home because he was just traumatized seeing all the horrible, cruel stuff happening during a war. And like that thought, and it's like singing about this thing, like traumatized people coming home from war and left alone from the states, the government they fought for. Um, and the passage of the crane, like when I'm wandering around my house, around here, there are a lot of cranes. I see them a lot, and they've got the song Passage of the Crane. It's about a girl suffering from Hiroshima, dying from like what happened to her. And it's about that, and it's just like she was afraid that she would die and nobody would hear her, nobody would hear about her story. And then, like, Heaven Shall Burn just took that story and made a song out of it. So the story still continues, and it's out there. Then They Shall Not Pass. It's a song about some events in England in 1936 when like the whole world looked at Germany and the Nazis there. There were also some weird fascist people in other countries, like in England. There was some fascist guy with his followers, and they were marching somewhere in London. And the people living there, like totally mixed people, like Jewish people, but Catholics, Protestants, and whatever, they just got out there in the street and just stood there, and just were just screaming, "They shall not pass." They just stood up against this fascists. It's not happening that much nowadays, sadly, but it should. Just people standing up against those crazy assholes. I like that Heaven Shall Burn has become slightly like mainstream metal because a lot of people listen to them, but they still have the political statements and they're just still standing up for that. And I like that a lot about the band because they're not kind of selling out or whatever. They're still who they are. Then they got like Corpse Grinder featuring on the song Pray to God. They cover Agent Orange and The Cry of Mankind's first song of Sodom, then My Dying Bride. And as I said before, I always admired cover songs from Heaven Should Burn. And I think please, every album they release, they have at least one cover song. It was always like waiting for the next album, not only because of Heaven Should Burn and their material, but also was always wondering who's the next band they're about to cover. It's just like I like that. I like covering songs. We haven't managed that with A Tower of I yet, but I hope in future we will. And yeah, I'm excited what song it's going to be. And it's just like I think it's perfect Heaven Should Burn album, and it's an outstanding cover and outstanding artwork. Normally they have like hand painted covers and artworks and not just photographs. But I love to be outside. I love to be in nature and just to go for a walk and just look at stuff you wouldn't normally look at. Just take your time, take a step out, and I hope someday I get to Iceland when Corona is over and we can travel. I don't like flying that much, but I would fly to Iceland. It seems to be beautiful just looking at all those photographs, and I like all those lost places. Like here's a photograph of a cemetery, and this like reminds me of Ireland. I've been to Ireland and I loved it there. It's just cool, and maybe I've got Heaven Shall Burn on my phone when I'm there in Iceland, and I would listen to that album while being there, wandering around, and just being happy. So listen to Heaven Shall Burn, and thanks for having me on this show. It was very cool to do that. So support Al Tower of I, support Heaven Shall Burn, support all the other cool bands out there, especially during those hard times. We need all your support. So thanks, Metal DNA, for supporting the metal scene. See you.